M demands me to get her son a job and give her my referral money. The M in this case is my aunt, who is a typical Karen. 10 years ago when I came to the US, she helped our family out during our first few weeks. She's used that as an excuse to trample all over us ever since. I argued with her a lot whenever she tried to bully my family. I 28F am currently working as a software engineer SWE in a very large tech company. Her son 22M, whom I will call Steve, graduated college with a bachelor in computer science earlier this year but hasn't found a job yet. Thus, a few months ago, M reached out to me to get her son a job. Not really a nice ask like, "Hey Giraffe, can you help get cousin Steve a job at your company?" But, "You need to get cousin Steve a job because it's your responsibility and my son deserves it." I asked her what I would get for getting him a job and she told me it's the least I could do to pay her back for her help 10 years ago. So I helped him fix his god-awful resume and passed it to my company's college program. I know a few recruiters in my company, so I followed up with them to get him an interview. Without a referral, resumes can be filtered out by some computer, so it's much more difficult to get interviews. My cousin managed to get an offer and accepted it. At my company, whenever you refer a candidate and they accept the offer, you get a referral bonus which is dependent on how experienced they are. Since Steve was a new grad, the bonus wasn't huge but still decent, let's say $1,500. In a recent family gathering, I was minding my own business when Steve came over. He works in a different office and different team, but I knew it's hard for fresh engineers to onboard remotely during this pandemic. We chatted about tips to get promotions quickly. I am 2 ranks above him and have quite a lot of experience navigating the corporate world. During the conversation, Steve asked if I got my referral money for his referral yet, and I told him that I did and thanked him for accepting the offer. M heard this from across the room and immediately came to tell me to hand over that money. Of course I refused, which made her extremely angry. She yelled saying I make so much money being single with no responsibilities while she is a mom. Bitch, your son is 22 and already started working earning 6 figures. She told me that without Steve being such a genius and got the offer, I would not have gotten a dime. And for that I should give the money to her. Steve tried to calm her down to no avail and asked me to maybe give her half, $700. I told him that's all I received after taxes. I told him to give her his $20K sign-on bonus, which was standard for new hires at his experience in my company. Right upon hearing this, the M quickly turned her anger towards her son because he apparently had not told her and kept all the money to himself. Anyways, the money is now going towards my new piano and I am blocking M on all social media. I think she should go to his supervisor in person and demand her 50. I gave birth to him bonus. Which will not cause her son any embarrassment, nor will it interfere with his advancement in the company. Had 2 colleagues argue about a referral bonus as well. Coworker 1 worked part-time on a second job while still working with us. Coworker 2 had applied to the same company twice but the applications had been rejected. C1 referred C2 through their referral program and was finally accepted. Now C2 is asking for half the referral bonus, when nothing was discussed about splitting beforehand. C1 is regretting the referral and even offered to give the whole bonus back because of the constant messages and calls. Like your aunt. C2 doesn't see that the application went through because of somebody's referral. What sort of asshole thinks the person who helped them get a job should pay them for the favor? Sure, I'll give you half the referral bonus when you give me half of your salary. Yes, I know exactly who you are. Let me set the scene for you. A long time ago in a state far, far away there was a dance club. My job at this club was titled bouncer, though I was never good at bouncing. I was in college and needed money and was also very bored. My entertainment is people watching. I'll be that guy sitting on a bench at Walmart at 1 a.m. My side hobby was running a mugshot page on social media. What we did was made a page on Zookbook and labeled it directional quadrant of said state. For instance, North-South Rhode Island mugshots. I can't say what state because we had 1 million followers before it got sucked. When someone was arrested, law enforcement would post their mugshot and charges along with any prior mugshots and history. We would copy this information and post it on Zookbook along with colorful commentary. We would leave comments open and some would say encouraged cyberbully behavior, allowing those interested in such things to take a gander at their neighbors and of course letting them go full keyboard warrior. Which ironically lead to a few squabbles when someone was released and then tracked down someone that had left a harsh comment, and because of the squabble they were usually arrested again. Round and round they went. The record was one guy got arrested 3 times in 3 days for getting into a squabble with a commenter. My personal favorite charge to post was failure to register. What this meant usually was that a sex offender did not register and thus had a warrant put out for their arrest. We love these for a few reasons. 1. Sex offenders are usually hated by everyone. 2. The level of dislike rational humans have for this classification of crime leads to beautiful masterpieces of comments. Finally, 3. The offender was more worried about ending up on our page than actually going to jail because that pesky share button meant word traveled as quick as a poke. Anyway, on to the story. One Friday night this dance club had a very well-known and famous comedian booked, and the line to get in the club was outrageous. The night is going along relatively boring and idle. Check identification. Wave them in. Repeat and repeat. Side note. Those complaining to the doorman about the line being slow are literally complaining to the one person that was first in line. Never gets to go in and literally stands in one place while the rest of the line goes past. Anyway. I hear on the radio to hold the line while they do a capacity check. They did this check because of how famous the comedian was. It caused a bit of a political issue in town where many elected officials and important people would be attending the show. Including the fire marshal. The fire marshal is the absolute worst person to upset if you're a business. The stop. I stopped the line on a gentleman and explained the wait. Normally people understand and know they will be in soon. Nope, not this wonderful specimen of human. He goes crazy. Complaining and screaming, trying to rally people to support him. He's going crazy, threatening to sue. Name calling and overall being a fool. Then he says those magic words. Do you have any idea who I am? Then I finally take a good look at him, and I did. I did indeed know exactly who he was, and that being at this particular club violated rules contingent to his freedom. I say yes, Touchy McGee. Not his real name, in case you were curious. I know exactly who you are. You're Touchy McGee. Wanted for failure to register yesterday due to being convicted of awful crime that lands you in protective custody when locked up in year, and list his various other appearances on the mugshot page. I informed him of who he was loudly so everyone could hear, and people that were just cheering him on then shrank away. Again, because this was a big event, I was stationed next to an on-duty law enforcement officer whose normal role was to double-check for fake identification. Looked forward to finding one because it meant he could do something other than stand in a line. However, after me introducing Touchy McGee to the world and his current active warrant, the officer responded as anyone who had the choice of taking such a person to jail or standing in a line their entire shift would make. He steps up to Touchy McGee and asked for identification. Touchy refuses. I pull up my page on Zookbook and confirm his identity from a mugshot posted the day prior. This gave the officer enough to frisk and subsequently locating Touchy's identification. He then radioed in and confirmed he now had a drive-in paperwork instead of standing in line. Touchy is swiftly placed in a car and driven away. Then I'm told to let 30 people in. TL. DR. Wanted sex offender. Entitled parents thinks getting a black belt in martial arts is easy. So this story happened last week and I am excited to share it with you all. Typed on phone. So a little background info. I am a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo and I'm an instructor as well. I work alongside 2 other instructors and we make a pretty good team. Since everything has been reopening, we continue to teach, and we had a policy that if you are vaccinated you don't need to wear a mask when inside. Now to the story. So it was just me and one other instructor, we'll call instructor man, I'm working that day, and we just finished teaching a class of kids, so we had a few minutes of downtime. In walks EP and her kid. I didn't hear the kid talk much, so I couldn't tell if he was entitled or not. My friend went over to greet them and see whether or not they may be interested in signing up for a class. Hello. I'm instructor name. Are you interested in our martial arts program? EP. Yeah. I want my kid to get his black belt. Oh, that sounds great. If you want, we can start off with a trial day to see if he likes it, then we can work out a membership plan. EP. I'm sorry. You must have misheard me. I want my kid to have a black belt. Is there one you can give to him? Once I heard those words, my attention was 100% focused on this idiot of a mom. One important thing about Taekwondo. Even if you were the best of the best, you are required to train for at least 1 year before getting a black belt. And this woman thinks she can get one in 1 minute. It took me 5 years to get my black belt, and I know damn well my friend ain't going to give one to her kid. Sorry. But I cannot give your child a black belt. He needs to train and work his way up all the belt levels. EP. Look. I'm in a hurry, so how about I buy one? How much will it cost? The belts are not for sale. EP. Oh, come on. Look. I got 100 here. Now can I have the damn belt? I'm sorry. But we cannot just sell black belts to anyone. The conversation was getting louder with this woman on the edge of yelling, so I walked up to our mini office where my partner in this EP was talking and poked my head in. Me. Hello. Is everything alright over here? EP. No. This is not alright. This man won't give my son his black belt. Me. I'm sorry ma'am, but your son needs to go through the entire course to be able to qualify for a black belt. But if you have proof of him learning in a different school for Taekwondo, we can possibly give him a belt equal to his previous one. I knew I've peeped up the moment I said that, because that tiny sliver of hope I gave to this EP was enough to make her continue her frenzy for another 15 minutes. EP straightens up and speaks in a professional tone. EP. Well, my son has been learning Taekwondo for the past 3 years at this school in town and got his black belt there. Me. Do you have any proof? Pictures? Payment plans? His previous belt? EP. Of course. Hold on a moment. She began to search through her purse and she got her phone. Then she started to find pictures, just Google images of people wearing black belts. These images were either too blurry or you couldn't see the person's face to correctly identify them. Some even had watermarks on them, which I found hilarious. Me. I'm sorry, but we need more proof than this. And from the looks of the different uniforms and logos, these are all from different schools. EP. Well, my son has been to many different places, but he never felt challenged. He was always the best, so we just kept changing schools to match his potential. I already know this isn't going anywhere, so I don't try to encourage this human garbage disposal. Just to make this clear, what happened to your son's original belt? EP hesitates for 5 seconds. Well, he lost his belt, so we are trying to get a new one in time for his tournament tomorrow. Look. I'm sorry, but the only way I can give your son a black belt is if you show more concrete proof. And that's if he is signing up for a membership here. My friend just sits back and waits for her response while I decided to talk with the kid. Me. Hey. How's it going? Kid. Alright. Me. How long have you been doing Taekwondo? Kid. The kid was obviously shy and didn't want to be here, so I didn't push him on the subject and instead went back to the office. Look. I'm sorry, but we cannot give your son a black belt. End of story. EP fuming. I will get you fired. With this, she rushes out the door, nearly pulling the kid's arm off, trying to drag him out. I simply look at my friend and he gives me a tired look, knowing full well that this woman was not the first, nor last EP we will face. When I took Taekwondo, if you passed the test for a black belt, you had a probationary period of a year. Failing a grade for school kids. Getting into a fight at school. Basically any conduct unbecoming would violate the probation, and you had to wait to take a test again. Then go back on probation. Black belt tests were only held once a year. You weren't officially a black belt until after probation was concluded, though you would be training students in that time as part of your duties. Though I did go into a different school later, much closer to home, that basically said as long as you show up for 2 years, you'll get a black belt guaranteed. So not all schools are as serious about training properly. Since Taekwondo got into the Olympics, there seemed to be a horde of these schools popping up too. Now it's MMA schools popping up everywhere, of widely varying quality. She sounds awful, but I can't help but to wonder, why the urgency? Is he getting picked on and bullied, so she tells him you can tell them you're a black belt so they'll leave you alone? With the way the kid was acting, it fits. Managers didn't stay to watch trainee like they said they would. And she caused more trouble tonight. According to my other coworker who was training the nightmare, managers left around 4. The girl didn't do any check-ins or take any calls, imagine that. Instead, she was playing in the elevators again. She sprayed fart spray in them and thought it was hilarious. Sent both elevators to different floors with nobody in them. She clogged the lobby's toilets. So housekeeping is in for a surprise. One toilet was overflowing with poo water. The other toilet had an empty toilet paper roll in the stall, and she took the springy holder thing and tried to flush it down the toilet. That toilet clogged. Then she put the cardboard TP thing in the toilet and took a piss on it and came out and told coworker exactly what she did and was laughing hysterically about it. She kept making her usual sarcastic asshole dry humor type jokes all night and thinks she's hilarious. Swore like a sailor as usual. Took her shoes and socks off and kept them off for hours. Walked around barefoot. Stunk so bad. I guess this time smelling like skunk. Onions and stinky feet. Girls feel stink. Also greasy hair and the same stained shirt as yesterday. We are a non-smoking hotel and the girl told a couple that asked about smoking. She told them she didn't give a feep what they did. Smoke wherever. She didn't mark down any snacks or drinks people took. You're supposed to charge them to the room. She told them she didn't care what they did as long as they don't bug her. She said to coworker her plans for when she's by herself for night audit is to shut all the lights off in the lobby. Because lobby is closed, lobby is never closed, lock the doors. If they aren't in by 11, oh well. And go hide in the housekeeping room because there's no cameras, and fold towels, aka grab and pillow and blanket and take a long siesta. Her words. Coworker kept messaging me telling me what she's doing. Also saying she can't wait to get off the clock as soon as it hits 11. She's out. She can't take it. She's so immature. Obnoxious and annoying. Why did they even hire her? Pretty much the same speep, I ask myself. She's also on the schedule for next week but not until Tuesday, and she will be with me on 311 FML. 1. She's trying hard to get fired. 2. If someone is too stupid to not fire her, refuse to work with her. 3. Does your company have an HR department? If so, and you find out the managers are not firing her, contact them. 4. If cameras are still down, take photos and video on your cell phone for managers and HR. Definitely. She is hoping mommy and daddy will throw up their hands and say, I give up. We will take care of you. I had also wondered if she is trying to get fired so she can collect unemployment. She sounds dumb enough to think she can sign up despite being let go. However, Opted mentioned she has lost other jobs. So that scenario seems unlikely. For heaven's sake, have this girl arrested. Talking like that to hotel customers is bad enough. But the property damage is vandalism. It's a crime. And she should be punished. I would forward those messages to the higher-ups and start sending that documentation up the chain of command. This crap is ridiculous. Have housekeeping and everyone else she's impacting send their documentation up the chain of command. Her crap has gone on way too long. Update. Me. She sounds on the edge of mentally ill. If not simply a ridiculously pampered lazy child whose parents have created a monster and now think they can undo it with some threats and tough love, but it's like they told her she can't quit this job like the other ones she had before, so she's determined to get herself fired. Get a few friends to write reviews of her. Say they came in looking to see about booking but left immediately so they don't check if it was an actual book-in. Smell. Clogged toilets. Her being barefoot. Do it over a few days at different times. Create a few accounts for it and do it yourself. Film or take pictures. It's a public business and report it to your managers. Don't do this. It will hurt the hotel and risk the jobs of all the good people who work there. Report to management. Get others to report to. They will have to listen. Now there's another employee that can back up your complaints. This person should also go to the manager because honestly the way she acts is so unbelievable that it needs confirmation from others. And tell manager you will not be doing any damage control related to these antics if this chick stays on. Leave that toilet for the manager to clean up. It should not be up to housekeeping.